All right. Well, welcome to our webinar about how to nominate for the Borlaug Field Award. And my name is Ellen Franzenberg. I'm the Director of Awards and Lectures here at the World Food Prize Foundation, and I'm joined by my colleague Whoopi at Marchmont Communications. And we're going to start by taking you through a quick presentation about how to nominate for the Borlaug Field Award, a little background on what the Borlaug Field Award is, and we will be happy to take questions about nominations or about the Borlaug Field Award. You should have the ability to unmute yourself if you choose to and ask a question out loud, or if you prefer, you can put your questions in the Q&A box or the chat box, and we will get to those. So the Borlaug Field Award recognizes exceptional science-based achievement in agriculture and food production by an individual under the age of 40. So the Borlaug Field Award was endowed by the Rockefeller Foundation in 2011 with a $10,000 cash prize in honor of Dr. Norman Borlaug. I'm sure that everyone has heard of Dr. Borlaug who's on this call, but this award was really established to honor him and his work that he did at the beginning in Mexico with farmers and the basic research he did on the ground and in the field. So we're looking for young scientists who are kind of emulating him and what he did in his early career. So the award ceremony is every October around World Food Day, October 16th. And we hold the award ceremony in conjunction with the International Borlaug Dialogue every year, and also the World Food Prize award ceremony. Those all happen in the same week around October 16th. And the Borlaug Field Award ceremony happens at the World Food Prize Hall of Laureates in Des Moines, Iowa, which is where I am right now. It's a beautiful ceremony with a lot of history. So kind of getting into how to nominate someone for the Borlaug Field Award. We'll first look at the criteria for a nominee. We're looking for one individual who's under the age of 40. And we're looking for a science-based achievement. The individual could be a researcher or an extensionist who is actively working in their discipline or area, and who is also working kind of in the field or at the production or processing level with farmers or fishers or ranchers, herders, processors in rural communities. And this could be really at any point in the food system. So maybe an agronomist working with farmers and their crops, or animal scientist working with livestock, or perhaps a nutritionist who's working with farmers in rural communities, any kind of area in the food system. So these are 9 kind of criteria that we're looking for in the nominee. So we're looking for persistence, innovation, communication, good research and science, extension to farmers and others, education, application of science, leadership, and impact. So these are kind of the criteria that we think of when we think of Dr. Borlaug's early career and what made the Green Revolution a success. So we are looking for young scientists, researchers, or extensionists who are putting this into practice as well. So for the nominator, any individual or organization can nominate someone for the Borlaug Field Award. Nominations from an organization should be endorsed by an executive officer of that organization. So we know that they have an organization behind this nomination, but really any individual can nominate someone for the Borlaug Field Award. Nominators should have direct knowledge about the nominee's work and provide examples within the materials that they provide of the nominee's work. We also cannot accept self-nominations, so the nominator needs to be a different person from the nominee. So the first information that we're going to be looking for is we need contact information for the nominator, and we also need contact and biographical information about the nominee. So we're looking for the nominee's CV or resume, their date of birth, which is important for knowing that they're under the age of 40, the country they're from, and other basic information about the nominee. Then getting more into the details, we ask for a statement of work. This is a 3,000 word maximum statement. If you do include sources cited, that doesn't count towards your word limit. We do encourage you to cite any sources that you do use to prepare the statement of work to kind of show where the information is coming from. And the statement of work should describe the nominee's accomplishments, and it should be detailed and provide examples of what the nominee has done, and also how the nominee demonstrates the criteria that we talked about before, those 9 areas. So those should also be talked about in the statement of work. And we're also looking for what were the impact and the results of the nominee's work. So this should include, some numbers about what the impact was, how many people, or anything that would be relevant to the work of the nominee that shows what kind of impact and results their work had. We're also asking for 3 letters. So we want 1 nomination letter from the nominator, and then 2 letters of support from 2 other people. We want no more than 2 supporting letters due to the number of nominations that we get. We're asking for just 2. For the letters, we want them to be on letterhead if letterhead is available to the writer. And signed and dated, and include the writer's position and organization, just like a regular letter, business letter that you would write. And the letters should describe, explain, and emphasize the achievements of the nominee. It's usually more effective if the letters are written by people who are familiar with the nominee's work in some way. We're also asking for 1 headshot photo of the nominee, and you can optionally include 2 additional action photos, sort of like the one that you see here on the slide and in some of the other slides that I've showed you already. Please include captions with the action photos so that we have an idea of what we're looking at. So finally, when you have all of the materials together, you can go to our online submission portal, which is called Reviewer, and you will create an account and a password, and you upload each of the documents separately to the form. And the form will require you to upload all of the required documents before you can click the Submit button. If you log in and you start if you start filling out the form, you start uploading documents, and then you have to walk away, you can click Save, and that will save your progress, but it won't submit. And then you can later on come back, log back in, and pick up where you left off, filling out the form and uploading the required documents. So once you have all those documents, you do want to make sure you click Submit so that the form will actually be submitted. If you click save, it will just save it and it won't submit it to the next step of the process. So, and you can find the submission form and all of our nomination criteria at worldfoodprize.org/Borlaug Field Award. So just to give you an idea on the timeline for the nomination process, June 1st is the deadline to submit nominations. The nominees will remain eligible beyond the year that they are nominated. So the selection jury may decide to keep some of the nominations in the pool and continue to consider them as long as they're still under the age of 40. So the nominations are evaluated by an independent jury chaired by Dr. Ronnie Kaufman. Dr. Kaufman was Dr. Borlaug's PhD student, his only PhD student, actually. And then in August and September of this year, we will publicly announce the recipient of the Borlaug Field Award. And then this year in 2025, the award ceremony will take place on October 21st. All right, so that is pretty much all I have for the process and my little presentation here on the how-to. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Again, if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, you can do that. Or if you want to put it into the Q&A box and we can answer your questions, happy to do that. So, and I have my contact information up here on the screen too, in case you have more questions after the webinar that you need to ask me, please feel free to reach out and do that.
I've also given everyone permission to speak. So if you just want to unmute and ask a question, feel free to do so.
Well, if there's no questions, that's completely fine. And like I said, go ahead and contact me later if anything comes up. Okay, and we did have one question here. What is the procedure to update a nomination? So if you submitted a nomination in a previous year and you would like to update that nomination, if you are doing like a full update and you're providing new letters and you're updating the statement of work, and you're updating the CV, for example, then I would go ahead and create a new form in the submission portal in Reviewer and just resubmit the entire nomination with all of the updates. If you only want to update one part of the nomination, like if you just want to give us a new CV and that's it, then please send it directly to me and I will upload the new document on the back end to the nomination profile. That way you don't have to resubmit everything all over again. But if you are updating, most or all of the documents in there, then go ahead and make a whole new form. All right. All right. If there are no other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up this webinar. But thank you so much for coming and thank you for your interest. And like I said, my contact information is on the screen. Please feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions or need clarification on anything. Right. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great rest of your day.